Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank. Time to be first, member FDIC. Josh Widdowson with you once again here on WCCS, 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. Our interview segment is presented by Marcus & Mack, voted best law firm, best personal injury lawyer 4 years in a row, and the best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online at marcusandmack.com. So coming up very soon, in fact, tomorrow at the Indiana Mall Community Room, it is the monthly meeting of the AARP Evergreen Chapter 2581, and they always bring over a guest speaker. This month, the guest speaker is going to talk about scams and how the criminal element out there is trying to get some dishonest money away, get some money dishonestly away from some people who are perfectly honest. Joining us this morning here on Indiana in the Morning is Mary Bach of Pennsylvania AARP Fraud Watch. And Mary, good morning. How are you doing, ma'am?
I am doing just well, and I am a volunteer with AARP.
So happy National Volunteers Day.
Absolutely.
All right, excellent. So Mary, talk about in your volunteer work what you do for, the AARP Fraud Watch.
I am trying to educate consumers of all ages about the scams that are out there. And they are all around us, touching our lives, sometimes in ways that we don't even realize. And tomorrow at the AARP chapter meeting, we are going to actually highlight romance scams, because romance scams are second only to investment scams in terms of taking the most money away from their victims. And accompanying me at the meeting will be a woman who was a romance scam victim, and she tells her very compelling story about what actually happened to her. She is a victim survivor in the sense that even though her story is absolutely tragic and she lost a huge amount of money, she is now trying to educate consumers and let them know the kinds of things they need to watch for, simply because so many of these scams we call textbook. They follow a regular pattern, and the romance scams are very much that way.
So with romance scams, maybe we can go into a little bit of detail about what that means. I'm assuming in this case that we hear of a story of somebody professing their love or trying to get close to their victim by using words of love and other things like that to try to get them so they're not just friends and that they trust them in that case, right?
That's exactly right. And the criminals, and that's what they are, the scammers, lure people in. They get them emotionally involved in a particular situation. And there are many lonely people who are looking for love or maybe just some companionship, somebody to talk to on a regular basis. And the scammers know that. They use lots of the social media sites or even some of the dating sites. And one really sad statistic is that about a third of the profiles on even the legitimate dating sites are in fact fake. That's actually admitted by the dating site people, owners and organizers, which is a really sad commentary. But anyway, the scammers, the criminals, co-opt pictures of real people, usually someone in the military or some doctor. They claim to be working abroad, and the criminal then sets up a fake profile using this photograph of certainly a real person,
right? Yeah,
and then develops a story around it to again victimize whomever they're talking with.
Another thing that I kind of see as kind of an offshoot of that, Mary, is people who pretend to be celebrities in that case as well.
And that's also very, very true. Although the difference with celebrities is that there is so much information about them out in the public arena and on the Internet that if you were to check out a celebrity, you might be able to find a lot more information and be able to rule out, what is being told to you, as opposed to just kind of a nondescript individual that's harder to track.
Now, when it comes to the victims, do we get? I know that this kind of thing would probably have female victims, but there are also male victims as well. I mean, this is not just limited to one gender. It's everybody can become a victim in this case.
You're exactly right, although according to the Federal Trade Commission, approximately 83% of the victims that report romance scams are actually women, and that kind of disappoints me simply because I like to think women are smarter than that, although it may be that men, when they are victimized and actually lose money, they do not report it.
I wonder why that's the case. Or maybe people feel embarrassed about being the victim of a scam like that?
Well, that's exactly true. Nobody wants to really admit up front that they have fallen for one of these kinds of scams. But also, it's a matter of, I think, fear of losing your independence, having your family members, if you're older and you've got adult children, your adult children all of a sudden think that you are no longer capable of making your own decisions. And so people just keep their mouths shut. And many men may just strongly feel that way, that they just don't want anybody to know, and they'll just go on with their lives.
I know you've done a lot of research into this as far as the national level goes. Do you hear something that would be more closer to home, like maybe statewide numbers or even local numbers, if you have them, about how many people are actually affected by these?
And I actually do not have that kind of specific information. Most of the information is reported out basically on a national level through the FTC or through the FBI somehow. And as a result, we're talking much more about national figures.
But still, it affects probably more people than we think, even in our neck of the woods.
Oh, I think that's really, really true. And very often, after I speak or after an audience hears a victim, we then at AARP have people come up and say, oh, I'm worried about my sister, or I have a neighbor that I think may be going through something like this right now, and they want, much more specific advice or how to handle these kinds of situations, because many times the Lothario or the love interest tries to keep the relationship or suggests that the person keep the relationship secret. And so many people feel like they've got this relationship, but they really don't want to talk about it openly.
Right, definitely. Now, what about maybe people who actually are seeing a friend of theirs or family members of theirs that are being affected by this? Are they going to be able to learn at your talk maybe how to approach this?
Oh, I think that's really true. And when you hear, again, the victim's story, as she will tell it tomorrow, and what she actually did, and how she then was able to get some emotional help, I think that it can be very enlightening to those people who do have someone that they know in their circle that could be a potential victim, or someone that they know for a fact is being victimized, because sending money is the real red flag. All scams are about money. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And your identity issues. And so when someone starts sending money, that's when the real problems start and they truly become a victim.
All right. So on this occasion tomorrow, you're going to not only share the story of somebody who has gone through this and has come out the other side as a victim survivor, but you're also going to share ways that people can kind of latch on and figure out that they're being scammed. You just said the biggest red flag right there. Hey, I need money. That's one of the big red flags right there. But also, there's got to be some other signs that people can be on the lookout for. it may not be as obvious as that, but there could be some other signs out there, right?
That's really true. They profess love very quickly. They most often claim to be from the United States, but they're always traveling or working overseas, working abroad somewhere. And one typical pattern is that they tell you they plan to visit you, they are in love with you, or they need to see you, and so they're definitely going to come see you. The problem is they need money for a plane ticket, or they need money to travel, because their money is tied up in bank accounts or in which are inaccessible to them because of their business or their working circumstances, etc. And so, again, they need money to travel to see you, or they need money for a variety of reasons. They've had a medical emergency or some type of financial setback. And we're also going to suggest then not only the red flags to watch for, but also what you can do if you feel like you've been victimized or if you're caught up in one of these situations.
All right, now let's get to the particulars because we're just about out of time. This will be at the Indiana Mall's community room tomorrow. What time?
It's at 1 o'clock.
And is this open to the public?
It absolutely is. We hope everybody will come.
And if anyone wants more information about your services as a part of the AARP Fraud Watch, how can they get a hold of you?
They can actually contact me directly if they choose to. I am happy to share my email address is mb and the word advocate, mbadvocate @msn.com. And I provide programs all over the Commonwealth, and I would be happy to talk to anyone about not only the kind of romance scams we're talking about tomorrow, but scams in general.
Mary Bach, thank you very much for joining us on Indiana in the Morning. I hope the information reaches a lot of people, and I hope that a few more scammers are busted and brought to justice because of the words that you give out tomorrow. Thanks again for joining us today on Indiana in the Morning. I hope it's a well-attended talk tomorrow.
My pleasure, and thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate being with you.
We appreciate you. Thanks again, Mary. Mary Bach with the AARP Fraud Watch with a talk tomorrow at the Indiana Mall Community Room, 1 o'clock, as you heard. And our interview is presented by Marcus & Mack, voted Best Law Firm, Best Personal Injury Lawyer, 4 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online, marcusandmack.com.